Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to talk to you in this video about journaling, which is an amazing tool for neuroplasticity. So it's a brain rewiring tool that's going to help you taking steps forward on a recovery path out of chronic symptoms. So whether you have chronic fatigue syndrome or ME or an autoimmune condition or IBS and gut health issues or chronic anxiety or chronic pain or any chronic symptoms, this is going to help. People have journaled for centuries, including Roman emperors, but those were often in a way of keeping a diary or writing creatively even. The kind of journaling that I'm talking to you about today is specifically for healing, specifically for becoming more self-aware, looking at your own thoughts, your behaviors, allowing repressed emotions to come up so that journaling becomes a neuroplasticity exercise which helps you recover from symptoms very quickly sometimes and helps you create new patterns of behavior so that you can get long-term lasting results and transform parts of your life that haven't really been working for you. Journaling started being used more and more in the healing space in the 1960s when a psychotherapist brought it in to work with his clients, and he created a system called intensive journaling, and he designed a workbook that would have different sections for different parts of your life. So you would journal in the section that corresponded to what you were journaling about on that day. In the 1980s, Dr. John Sarno recommended journaling in his book, The Mind-Body Prescription, which was designed to help people recover from chronic symptoms like chronic back pain, but also chronic symptoms that now would include chronic fatigue syndrome, ME, long COVID, gut health issues, insomnia, autoimmune conditions, chronic anxiety. The reason that journaling is an effective neuroplasticity tool is that you are consciously choosing to reprogram your brain when you're writing things down. You are consciously encouraging new thoughts and ideas and feelings to come up. At the beginning, you may struggle, you may find that nothing comes up. And I want you to know that's normal and that doesn't mean it's a problem. In fact, it shows that things are maybe repressed. And by therefore journaling, you're going to help things become unrepressed, or they're going to come up gradually. You may also find that journaling doesn't lead to results right in the moment when you're writing, but things might come up later for you. You may get thoughts and ideas and emotions coming through later in that day. I began journaling through morning pages, which were a way of journaling designed by Julia Cameron in her book, The Artist's Way. So she suggests that you write for 20 minutes as fast as you can, and you're using journaling for that technique to clear thoughts and things that might be blocking your creative writing flow. But then you don't reread your pages, you put them away, and then you just do your next ones the next day. And the deal with morning pages is you're not to go back and read them. They are not creative writing. It's not words for you to keep. It's words for you to clear what's happening. So I still favour that approach for people that I'm working with. I feel it's very beneficial to separate journaling for healing from creative writing. If you want to write creatively, that's wonderful, do a project, but don't make it the same as your journaling. Your journaling is to help you connect to what's inside of you that's hidden so that you can recover from any chronic symptoms that you may have right now. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Amari Love, a writer, mind-body practitioner and somatic coach, and I'm sharing everything I've learned on my own healing journey from decades of chronic illness. There are many ways to journal that are being suggested by people in the healing space at this time, and I like to keep it as simple and clear as possible to be effective and to be easy for you to actually do it. You don't have to journal every day. You do need to journal perhaps once or twice a week, 3 times a week if you're not severe. A great idea is to journal at the same time. So if you're going to do Tuesday and Thursday, could you do 11 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or more or less around mid-morning those 2 days? If you're going to do once a week, can you do the morning on the same day each week? The reason for this is to start to build your recovery rhythm. We want to create anchors in your day and in your week to help you start to have a very regular series of activities that you do for your healing, because this is very, very regulating for your nervous system. So not only would you be journaling, which is great for your brain rewiring, great for your neuroplasticity, if you then just do it at the same sort of time, you're also regulating your nervous system at the same time. If you have a lot of things to write about and you're bubbling up, there's so much going on, you know that you just want to get a piece of paper and pen and you want to get going, that's great. Do that. But if that is not your situation, I'm going to give you a prompt to help you start journaling. So a prompt can be very useful, and what I would suggest is you might work with one prompt every day for, say, 4 or 5 sessions of journaling. You don't have to. You could choose a different prompt each time if you wanted to, but one prompt can take you quite deep. So the prompt I want to suggest that you start with is something that's going to help you teach your nervous system and teach your brain that emotions are going to be allowed. Now, you don't have to force emotions to come. You're going to teach your system that they're allowed. That's first, they're permitted. That doesn't mean they're going to arrive immediately, right? But first, we're just opening the door and saying, people are allowed to come in. Emotions are allowed to come in. So I'm going to give you a prompt that will encourage anger. Now, as I said, you are very unlikely to immediately feel angry. You are much more likely to simply be trying to work out if anger might be there in your system. The prompt I want you to write at the top of your page is, what am I angry about? So this question just goes at the top of the page, and you might spend 10 to 12 or 15 minutes sitting, thinking, pondering, and writing. Now, you might not write a lot at the beginning, but let's say you do this either once a week or twice a week. You may find that soon things start to come. If you cannot think of anything, I would encourage you to think about your symptoms. It is extremely likely that you have a lot of emotions about the fact that you have symptoms, and that would be very natural to have those emotions. Nobody wants symptoms and nobody deserves these symptoms. So the first place to begin can be writing about symptoms. And another tip that can help when writing about anger or trying to give the self permission to allow anger to start coming is to include swear words in your writing. So you may immediately write a response with a few swear words. You may not have anything to say at the beginning, but if you start writing swear words, usually other things come, thoughts, ideas, feelings. I want to offer you a different prompt as well as an alternative to work with. So if you don't want to work on raising anger, you can work on this other one, for example, or you can use both. You can use one day and use the other one the next time you do journaling. And this is, what am I heartbroken about? So you would write that at the top of your page, and again, you would sit for 10 or 12 or 15 minutes pondering it and trying to write things down. When you have a chronic condition and a lot of things have been taken from you in your life, there tends to still be a lot of grief, and it can be helpful to let some of it come out. Having said that, if you're working with being heartbroken, I do want to give you a tip a suggestion of what to do. I want you to be careful to limit that time to 10 or 12 or 15 minutes tops. If you are severe and bedbound, I don't want you to do that long. I want you to do 2 to 3 minutes and maybe build up over a few weeks or a few months. There is no rush to do this. There is no need to push yourself to do loads, actually, but just to start doing it can be very nourishing for your system. So if you work with that prompt about being heartbroken, I will recommend that after 15 minutes tops of working with that prompt, you put on something light or uplifting. I have a playlist of soothing music on my YouTube channel, or you could watch a little bit of comedy, or you could listen to a light audiobook. Not something too exciting or dark or thrilling, because that's going to put you back into fight or flight energy, but something soothing. Might be very warm, might be a children's book, might be a meditation. Again, one of the meditations by me that make you feel soothed and that help your nervous system regulate. The reason I'm saying that in specifically about the heartbroken prompt is it's not great to dive too deep into grief for long periods of time. I want you to do a very short amount of time and then consciously decide to go towards something uplifting or comic or light or fun. My favorite tip is to use multicolored pens like these. Okay, so I feel that you need to encourage yourself to do these tasks. Healthy people with no symptoms find it hard to do transformative work. So doing it with chronic symptoms is unimaginably difficult. So everything that you do to prepare is going to make it easier. Preparation is my top tip. Buy a pad or 2 or 3. I would also encourage you to have a drink or something soothing after journaling, something that can be a reward. But again, this is signaling to your nervous system that you're pleased with what you're doing. There's such a typical personality trait in people with chronic symptoms where there's a lot of self-criticism that I want you to consciously try and praise yourself and be proud of yourself. So by doing a small amount of journaling, I want you to then think, I deserve a reward. That might just be a cup of tea, might be a piece of toast, or might be something that you like, might be playing your favorite piece of music for a couple of minutes, might be sitting with a soft blanket, or a few moments of something light and uplifting like comedy. The reason that this is really important is you're going to rewire those patterns of self-criticism as well, and the pattern of not enough. So believing that you need to do more always, and that you need to push more, and that you must achieve, and that you must go fast, and doing more is better, is part of the personality traits that come with this chronic condition very often. So you don't have to journal every day. Do not try to write well or creatively. This is not a creative writing task. This is journaling for healing. That means nobody's going to see this. You are not going to get to reread it. It is going to get torn up. The whole purpose of this is to have a safe place where you're teaching your system that it's safe to express itself. Now, in order to keep your system safe, one of the important things is that you're not going to leave a journal book lying around for anyone else to ever see it. It is not allowed to be read by anyone, but also you don't need to read it. You want to be allowed to say things that you would never say out loud, that are completely private, that if they're anger-based, they might have swear words in them. You don't want this being seen. This is just to express. And one way to teach yourself that that is safe is if you then tear out and tear up the pages. Throw them away. Tear them really small. Nobody's going to read these. They're going in the bin. They've got to be gone. Okay? Very important. Also, if you're working on anger, really rip the pages and feel your arms when you do it. Because feeling your arms stronger than you think they are, Any kind of ripping is good. It's reinforcing the pathway of saying I'm allowed to feel anger. Anger can come into my body as well as into my mind and my heart. This way you're leaving your journal book clear for the next day and ready. So you put it back where you're going to keep it, so it's ready for your next time that you're going to journal. One more tip is to write with feeling. So this may be impossible sometimes. If you have very high symptoms, it's hard enough to get a book and pen and write anything. I realise a lot of people are very, very incapacitated by symptoms. But I want you to understand the goal and the idea of journaling for your healing. This task is to lead me into the negative thinking and negative emotions that my whole system has been avoiding. I possibly can't do that straight away. I possibly can't dive into something very difficult right at the beginning, and that's okay. But that's my goal. My goal is to go to the dark places inside of me that I've been avoiding, the things that make me unhappy, the things that make me angry, the things that hurt me. Most of us spend so much time trying to put a brave face on, trying to say things are okay, trying to hide from ourselves our own fear. Journaling is the time and place to let that come up. So you want to allow feelings. You want to consciously write stuff down and check in. And one way to do this that's very effective is to do 10 seconds of breathing just at the end, after your 10 minutes. Now, I don't mean do a breathing exercise. I do not mean box breathing. I do not mean timing your breaths. I do not mean counting your breathing. I mean sit and notice your breathing. If you're lying down, that's fine. However you are, it's fine. To notice if the words you've written in your journal are producing an effect inside you that feels like an emotion. You may feel shaky. That would maybe be fear. You may feel hot. That maybe would be anger. You may have tears rolling down the sides of your face. That maybe would be grief. You're just going to take 10 seconds or so to notice and to allow whatever is there to be there. And it probably won't produce emotions right at the beginning, but gradually doing that, you're giving yourself permission to have emotions. And after a few times of journaling, they're going to start to come up. And I want you to realize that a few moments of tears sliding down your cheeks is very healing. Or if your system goes all hot and bothered and you feel angry, that's very healing. It's going to be helpful to you. It's going to possibly reduce symptoms right in that moment. You may get an emotion come up and your symptoms go down. And if that happens, you have to comment on this video and share with everybody that it's working. Okay, so sharing your experience will inspire other people. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to the channel so that I can keep sharing this work for free. Take good care of yourself.